Hiya. How are you? Good. Cockles. 10 each.
A friend of mine was talking about the other night in the pub. I did ask her to send me the photos. She said the women were hench. Those little Welsh ladies with massive things on their back would harvest down there on the estuary. And they used to walk seaweed, shellfish to Haverfordwest, and it would take 2 days, and they would do that every week. You're just like, nuts.
She was 88 when she died, and she was out in the sands with the donkey until she was either 80 or 81. Oh, it was very, very hard to gather the cockles. You know, the tide, it was rough, you know, very backbreaking, very wet, hard job. So with a short rake, and they rake the sand, a bit of water will come with there, in with them, swish them, and then put them in the buckets there, or the sacks, whichever they use. The woman did it as to put the bread on the tables, probably, you know, for that extra income. I mean, things were tough, and I suppose the men were down the mines or the collieries or with the steelworks and everything like that. So I suppose they were all out working. The woman just done it as a source of income.
I grew up as a shellfish farmer's daughter, so oysters and mussels were being brought into my home. Dad was like, I want to get into shellfish. And I think a part of that was like him foreseeing the importance of doing something to do with fish that was more environmental.
Cockles are mollusks. They got a little orange tail, as you see.
It's a bivalve, and the oyster shell is like really delicate, particularly towards the ends where the two shells kind of meet. They kind of open and close just a small amount, both in and out of water. It's often like beautiful colours of like purple or blues within the shell. The mussels are far smaller, smoother. As the mussel ages, it kind of gets rougher. We were just really beach people. I'd say all of us are actually just like, we like the day spent on the beach as a bit of an escapism, like love the sea swimming, love sitting around in the sand. And it was like, I suppose, a cheap way of doing holidays as a kid.
When I was little, we were coming in here, we 4 girls with my parents and grandparents, and we just carried on. We loved coming in here. My mum used to have my sister Jo, but there would be in shawl sometimes. You know, the old-fashioned shawl in here with her, yes. We had horse and cart, you know, to gather the cockles. We'd have a ride to the end of the lane, and off they'd go, yes.
I love it here. Like, it's just, it's a nice visually stimulating place. I don't know what it is. The water is like glass. It was the seaweed that I could sense from the start that I was quite like, oh, I like wild harvesting, or I like processing the stuff you harvest. There was something quite intuitive about it all. In terms of like identifying stuff, I'd say Dad normally comes to me for things like that, and that's just the last 4 or 5 years going out at low tides and picking stuff and having a book to hand. There's something quite therapeutic about it all.
It's childlike in the sense of on like a rock pool, I have a function, I'm there to harvest, but you still can't help but be totally involved with what you're seeing and where you're putting your feet and how you're kind of moving around all these areas. And it's only so long. You're like, I'm here half an hour before low tide, so I know I've got a lovely half hour where I can see more and more, and then the tide turns and comes back in. So there's like an impermanence to all of it where you're just like, I'm seeing this all now and this will disappear within 2 hours.
As children, we went out there, we tried to jump the gutters. My father would be shouting, get back in, the tide was coming. And you could get trapped, you know. Tide would come one way, that pillar's filled, next thing you're surrounded.
You go out to the sea, and with all of its beauty and excitement, there's also this difficulty in real primary functions, and it just completely takes you out of your head. You work with the water, and over time you just gain this experience and confidence, then you can kind of enjoy that as your office rather than being in fear of it because we don't understand or we don't know how to work there.
Nice on a summer's day to go out and, you know, explore and see how it was done. But no, I couldn't do it. No. Not a job for me. I'll keep selling. I got my children and my grandchildren, I'm sure will carry all the tradition. I'll stay as long as I can. I might be on a stool sitting down with a stick. You never know, do you? Just supervising. All right, let me finish these cockles now. Bear with me. Another medium temp.
Yeah, okay, let's try this.
We get so much from being able to spend time with one another and talking to each other. It's that socialising, you know how to do that, so you do that, and I know how to do this, so I'll do this, working to our strengths. The seaweed and the shellfish require certain chemicals and stuff to grow. The seaweed is feeding from the bivalve's waste. So it's just this wonderful kind of co-beneficial relationship between the two things. And I love seeing the seaweed and the shellfish growing in this same kind of underwater garden. An oyster is able to filter 20 gallons of water a day, so it's this tiny thing that gets through loads of water, and then it will absorb nitrates and phosphates, which everyone talks about carbon, but nitrates and phosphates have also increased dramatically. It's not field or farmlands, it's not cultivated anyway, it's the Irish Sea for us, so I know that they didn't take lots of water to grow, or they didn't require lots of feed to grow, so I think it's often the simple things like how far does the food come from, or what's involved, or kind of what's sacrificed in order to grow this food that a lot of people can get on board with. I like how our ocean farms are small and they are multi-species. All this other marine life that gets attracted towards these gardens because in like quite a barren sea land or something that's become quite acidified, you have this little garden that can provide habitats and food and protection. So we're already seeing all sorts of different marine life, and that's been really beautiful. I think a lot of the local fishermen are cracking onto it. So even to the trained fisherman's eye, they can see that there's just this hive of activity, which is really what we need in our oceans. I'm not doing what these women were necessarily doing, but just love that at the root of this kind of regenerative ocean farming thing, there is this, like, women have always been here, women have always been doing this thing. It's just evolved into how we're doing it now.
Para